about women and their libido. This is a subject I find really fascinating because it's full of these further questions. What does it mean when we say libido? When we talk about libido, a lot of the times it's defined as a woman's sexual desire, their drive. Now, I know, especially to being a woman, that for many of us, we can have sex when we don't desire it. We can have sex when we maybe feel too tired, or we think, oh, I don't know if I really be bothered tonight. But we look at our partner and we go, oh, but it would feel really nice to be close to you. It really would feel nice to connect. Or we haven't in a while and I think it would do us some good in our relationship to feel more bonded. You can have sex without having desire or drive to. It also then doesn't mean that you can't enjoy the sex that you're having. It just means that you're not necessarily ripping your partner's clothes off, jumping on top of them and going, I'm so horny, I want to have sex with you now. So then we get this issue of what happens to a woman's libido. And it's very much medicalized. We look for these reasons. People want to go talk to a doctor. Oh, I don't have a libido. I don't have the same sex drive that I used to. Now, there can be medical factors at play. So there may be things like hormonal imbalances, various health issues that are impacting a woman, issues postpartum after giving birth. There are medical reasons why a woman might not feel like having sex or have the drive and desire to. But there's a whole lot of other factors that we don't really talk about and address that I think are really normal, everyday things that can happen. If you are busy and stressed and juggling all sorts of things in your life, then often all that gets in the way of desiring sex because your mind is just full and chock-a-block of all these things that you have to do, haven't done, all these messages, especially as a woman, that we get these days about what we should be doing and how we should look and how our businesses should run and how our families should run and how our love lives should be. It can feel really overwhelming. So when it comes to jumping into bed, it's a moment of really letting go and just relaxing because we're so exhausted from the busy days that we've had. Sex isn't always on the top of our list. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be. I believe that we should place more of importance on sex, especially in a relationship. But there are these normal everyday factors that really can halt a woman from desiring sex. If a woman is struggling with her sense of self-worth and her body image, that's a huge factor in pulling away from a partner and really shutting down sexually. I'm also discovering recently all these different medical things that can go on with a vulva, whether it is constant thrush or bacterial vaginosis or skin conditions like dermatitis, issues with pelvic floor muscles, painful sex, discomfort during sex, all of these things. There are many women that have been having sex for a long time and it has been painful and experiencing discomfort, and they think that that's the norm because no one's ever really spoken to them about what sex should feel like. Eventually they get to a point where they pull away from sex because, hey, it's not really that exciting, is it? It's a bit uncomfortable. It shouldn't be. If you're experiencing pain or discomfort with sex, then you do need to talk to a doctor about that because there is the help out there. Sexual boredom is another huge thing. If you don't find sex interesting, then your sex drive and desire may dwindle because it's really not that interesting. So having these conversations around what turns you on, actually taking some time to consider that yourself and explore with masturbation and fantasy and actually think about what it is that you find desirable and want in the bedroom, finding your voice in the bedroom and speaking up and saying, you know what, this is actually how I experience pleasure. We hear these terms, own your sexuality, so many times, and I don't think we really stop and consider what that means. To own your sexuality means to be in control of it, and to be in control of your sexuality is actually speaking up and asking for certain things in the bedroom and actually having those discussions when you might find things a little mundane or boring. There's also the issue of resentment in relationships, and I feel like I've addressed this a lot in my content, but I'm a big believer that if you are struggling in your relationship, especially pulling away from a partner sexually, often sometimes there are deep-seated issues that are going on. There's resentment towards them for things that have been going on over the years, things that haven't been resolved. So that's also a really interesting place to have a look at if you're finding that your sex drive, libido, or even your desire to be physical with your partner is not there like it used to be. Also too, we have this myth that, sex should be like it was in the beginning of a relationship, that we should be ripping each other's clothes off all the time. Sex does change, and I think in the beginning everything is new and exciting and different, and there's really a sex drive that goes with that. It doesn't mean that as you get on in a relationship, if you don't have those factors, it doesn't mean that means that you're not having a great sex life. There's actually a deeper connection that you can really experience more pleasure with. You are more comfortable with each other to actually have those conversations, hopefully, about what you like in the bedroom, and to let go and actually explore different things together, or, even explore fantasies that you both want to live out. So it's really important that we bust this myth about this idea that we should be having sex like we did in the beginning, and it should always be the same. Our sex life is going to change, and we need to change with it, but we still need to be working at it. It is one of those things with libido where it is multifaceted and multi-layered, and we really need to stop and question, when we use the term libido, what is it that we are talking about? Are we talking about women desiring sex and ripping their partner's clothes off? Are we talking about women having sex but not desiring it? Or are we talking about women not having sex and not desiring it? But it might not just be medical. There may be other factors that are going on, and it's important that we address all of those if we want to explore having a healthy and connected sex life in our relationships. So I hope that one helps, and if you want to be notified of future vlogs that I do, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow and like me on Facebook and Instagram, and I will pop some interesting content up here, I promise, as frequently as I can. Thanks, bye.